the world is the stage. The stage is the world of entertainment.
Talk about excitement. Do I look all right? I look okay? Okay. Listen, get this back to Gloria Swanson and tell her I think it needs a ring job, okay? Good evening. Welcome again.
How are you?
Thank you.
Come on over here and meet some MGM people.
And do I need your help tonight, gentlemen?
Well, you're going to get it.
Dan Melnick.
Dan Melnick. And Dan Melnick is Senior Vice President for Worldwide Production at MGM, and Saul Chaplin is the head of the music department.
The
producer, the co-producer, and that's entertainment.
And I've done a
You're
lot
really
of
living in the
songs over
past.
years.
That's true, and I'm grateful.
May I call you Dan?
Please do.
MGM is a legend in the movie industry. Now, when were these studios first used, and what for?
Well, I think it was 1922 that the studio opened, and that was the beginning of the motion picture business as it evolved to what we know today. And this is really where it all started in terms of the excitement and the glamour that became MGM.
Excuse me, Mr. Melnick. We want to get you a nice looking face on camera. We're getting you back.
There you see some film of the studio as it was when it opened.
That had to be in the 20s.
That was 22, 23.
Yes.
And these buildings are still standing, and they've gotten one or two coats of paint, but essentially, other than the stages which have been soundproof, all of those stages are still being used today.
That's the newer portion we were looking at just there.
Right. And all of that empty space, of course, is now filled with a complex of 33 stages.
Now, we're this is stage 27.
Stage 27, yes.
Yeah. What are your memories of it, Gene?
Well, I did a lot of shows here, but we did practically the entire show of Brigadoon on this one stage. But we've done a lot of numbers on this stage.
How about you, Fred? What did you do here in 27?
Well, I don't know. I think I've been in almost every stage in the studio, but it seems that this looks a little bit like the one Barclays of Broadway, and a couple of others too. I don't know.
Sal, you were looking for a poster of that earlier. Remember?
That's right. Somebody told me you couldn't find a poster of Barclays of Broadway anywhere, and I found one on one of these kiosks.
And it's going to be
Now
gone
I've lost the
when it
kiosk.
leaves.
Or steal the whole kiosk.
I'm going to take it home.
Dan, what other films were done here?
Well, I
Soundstage
think,
27.
Broadway Melody of 1940, which was one of the landmark musicals, was done here.
Who were some of the people in that? Can you remember?
Well, that was, well, let me see. That had to be Eleanor Powell, for one.
Yeah.
And
for
as
two,
I
three, and four,
for two, three,
I think our Uncle Fred was in that too, and George Murphy.
Right,
George
yes,
Murphy and
yeah.
a fellow named Fred Astaire.
Uncle Fred.
Whatever happened to him?
Uncle Fred.
He was all right.
Rock Hudson starred here in Pretty Maids All in a Row.
Well, he wasn't
some
under
years
contract to MGM, though, was he?
Yes, he was.
was
There was
in
a period of time when Rock was under contract to the studio.
Oh, yes.
Not at that point that he made Pretty Maids All in a Row. He was under contract in an earlier stage. I think North by Northwest was shot
North
here.
by Northwest. Gene, wasn't part of American in Paris? It seems to me I remember.
Oh, yeah, sure. We did part of American Paris.
Paris on this stage. Sure.
And we did part of Singing in the Rain on this stage. As a matter of fact, we opened up this stage to the next stage for one big shot.
And that was
Yes.
That was also the ballet.
There's
from
too many
American
things to go into. Really,
right.
yes.
And of course, Tarzan and the Ape Man was shot here. Really,
I didn't
What
do
they
that.
call the interiors.
Serious.
Where did they do the exterior?
Here.
On this
They
stage.
moved the grass and the trees right onto the exteriors.
How much
They didn't know about location in those days.
This is going to sound like a kind of a trite question, but for the viewers, they love to hear things like this. How much film did you actually have to look at to find what you found in That's Entertainment Part 2?
Well, Saul and I looked at something like 280 films, which comes out, we did some quick calculations on the way down. It's about 560 hours of film.
That's right, about 6,000 miles. Right end to end.
Easy,
We saw
easy,
6,000 miles, twice across the country of film. That's leaving out the shorts, by the way.
When you do something like that, was it always unanimous, the parts you wanted
No.
between the two of you?
No, there was
I can attest to that. Never.
Never. No.
We're still arguing about one or two pieces.
That's right.
But basically there was unanimity. It's a very difficult process, but after a while it starts to dictate itself. because you have so much wonderful footage to choose from. And as you start looking at, well, this is a big number, and you look at all the big production numbers, and you start saying, these are the 7 greatest of the big production numbers, let's use these. And it starts to dictate itself.
Listen, we've got a pretty heavy party developing here, gentlemen. Why don't we join it?
Okay,
Well,
let's
okay
stay with
with
that.
Would you lead the way?
Yeah. Which way do we go first?
Told Nanette just whispered in my ear, you're getting a sign down there, and the sign says introduce the ladies.
Yes.
And they need no introduction, but I'm going to give it to them anyway. This is Nanette Fabray. This is Debbie Reynolds.
Hi, Nanny Tippy-Toe Miller.
And I'm Janis Paige.
And I'm Gene Kelly.
And,
And I'm Jane Powell.
And I'm old Dad. Go ahead.
and you won't dance. Don't ask me. All of the MGM musicals. I want to know, I know you were here practically your whole career, Debbie.
My whole life, you started to say.
No, your whole career.
1949, I came here and I did a picture with Janie Powell. That was my first film.
Who brought you
Well, my
here?
first film was actually with Fred Astaire, whom I adore, and that was 3 little words, and I said, poop, poopy, doop. That was 1949. I was 2 at the time.
How did you get here, my dear? How did
I get here? I
No,
want to... Tonight?
How did you get here? How did you get to MGM? What
I
brought
was
you
under
here?
contract to Warner Brothers, and Mr. Warner was going to raise me to $75 from $65, and it was $10 too much, and he said... So I came to MGM. And Jack Cummings gave me a break, and, well, that's how I started. And I worked with Janie and Annie.
And you came here from Broadway, Nanette.
I came here to do a million musicals, and I did one great musical, The Bandwagon, with Mr. Astaire, and I closed MGM personally. When I finished the picture, The Bandwagon, the studio shut down and everyone was fired. I don't like to feel personally responsible for it.
Are you serious?
That's true. Is it? We were all fired after The Bandwagon was finished being made.
One
Everybody.
of the great numbers ever done was Triplets with you and
yes.
Fred and Jack Buchanan.
And did
Great
it ever hurt on our knees? It really was a killer.
That's Entertainment Part 2, and you all must see it because it is fantastic. Being a part of this business, I got to tell you honestly, that about 5 different times I started to jump up, as did my whole staff, and applaud, stand up and applaud. That's how exciting it is. You were fabulous in that number with Gene and Donald, going over the couches and all that
Good
jazz.
morning. We did Good Morning. It's in the picture, yes.
Well, Mr. Kelly taught me everything I know, as a matter of fact.
Everything?
Everything, yeah.
Look out, fellas and girls.
Taught me how to work hard, how to sweat.
Janie, what about the
Thank you,
story
Debbie.
of your meeting Fred?
May I borrow your microphone, please? Thank you. Well, when I
You could even borrow Fred. Go ahead.
when I met Fred, I wanted to make a nice impression on him because I was such a fan of his, as I still am a fan of his. And so I had heard that he had a sister, has a sister, and they danced together. And I said, because first of all, when I did Royal Wedding, I got it third back. June was supposed to do it, Judy was supposed to do it, and I got it. Of course, I'm the singer, and then they made me a dancer. And so I said, Mr. Astaire, I said, I understand that you have a sister, and you dance together. And he said, yes. And I said, well, when did you stop dancing together? He said, that was 1929. And I said, oh, that's the year I was born. And with that, he proceeded to say they get younger every year. So that's how I met Fred.
We did, how can you believe me
when I told you that I loved you when you know I've been a liar all my life?
The longest
Blues.
title is, longest title in show business for a song. Right.
I want to talk to Tippy Toes for a minute.
Righty?
When we used to read the movie magazines and dream about someday being a part of this ourselves, as fans I'm talking about, we would read about all the delightful things, the stunts and things that they would pull on you. You would go out with so-and-so tonight, you'd be seen here. The publicity department, the build-ups. Was that good or bad, Annie?
Oh, no, it was great because I think it made all the stars dress up. It made them conscious of what they were wearing and who they were going with, and the publicity department was fantastic. They don't have that anymore, Mike. So therefore, you know, the stars don't get the build-up they once did. We had a real, I'd say, press machine that just analyzed everything we did. And that's very important. I think that's the most important thing in the world to publicize a film, is to have a great publicity department behind you. And Metro had one of the biggest and the best of all.
Think they'll ever go back?